Okay, hello. This is my first ever serious attempt at an all-ranked coaches run in Beastieball. Let's see how this goes. I have no idea how this is going to go. It's probably going to take around an hour, maybe a little more. I may mess up. I probably will mess up. There will be some point at which I mess up. We're going to see how it goes. The hardest part of the run is going to be grabbing the exercise video in mainframe, because I hate that thing. But we're gonna make it work. Let's go. What should I name my file? I feel like naming it something a little more interesting than a single character. Because again, usually I'm just skipping the cutscene. So like... that'll do. I still want to like F8 that you can't have... you can only have an open single quote and not a closed single quote or, you know, an apostrophe. Anyway. Let's do it. So... first thing we're gonna do, as per usual, run up here, start the tutorial fight, pick Kichik. Win this fight as quick as we possibly can. Have to lose the first point though, because it's a tutorial, and you need to know that you need two beasties to play. Basic hit into axolotl, and that gets the kill in 2 because Kichik is ridiculously strong. We're now going to head down and grab a shiny object. That's a bit of money. Straight off to the races. Talk to Reese here, make sure we don't run into any of the wilds, because if we do, we'll be in an unforfeitable fight. Don't want that. Grab this ball. Line that up. Line that jump up. Head down here. We're gonna go be grabbing a bunch of warp points in the early game because there are plenty of places we need to go later. So we're just grabbing this now, and then heading right back down, and I'm forgetting I don't warp out here. And I am running into a beastie because I'm not used to this movement. There we go. There is also a shiny object here, which I'll pick up. That's part of the reason why we come here early. And now we just head down here, and I'm going to hopefully get the skip first try. Yep, cool. Just sent that guardian to space real quick. I don't need that, but I got it anyway. We are not going to need to warp back to that campsite, because I got that one in the preserve. So, few losses here to Jack. We're going to lose a total of 5 times to get up to level 16. As that'll get our Kichik here metamorphed. I'm also trying to learn to expand my control scheme to use keyboard as well as mouse for selecting stuff in battle, so you might see me mess up a little bit here and there. Using a hybrid of both, I think, is the fastest way to do things. I just haven't quite gotten used to it yet. Bunch of moves there we don't need. There'll be some more moves in a bit that we do need. There we go. That's how fast that should go. If I move the mouse, it unselects the lane, but if I don't move the mouse after clicking free ball, we're good. Anyway, level 13 here. Basically, the reason why we're going through this canyon, even though it's not a required area for the game, is it gets us to the mid-game fast enough. It's the fastest way to get to the middle area, GeoCity, which has a lot of good access points to the rest of the game, and also has, like, the best places to grind. Basically, we are going to get up to level, like, 40-ish, maybe not quite 40, in about 15 minutes. I'm moving my mouse ever so slightly, and it's unselecting the lane, which is a little sad. Anyway, we learned shove and shield there. We're gonna need those just in case this fight doesn't go the way we want it to. Hopefully it will go the way we want it to. Kichik is going to metamorph into Ostracai here, meaning we get higher attack stats, that's the main thing, and can win this fight. Which is, to be clear, blocking our progress until we win. Nope, I clicked the wrong thing, there we go. So, we're going to click Kneebender into Lioness, getting some damage. We are going to move Sprecko forward. Sprecko won't get attacked here because the AI sees more damage on Ostracai, and we got a version of the fight that I don't like. Which is fine, we'll make do. Still need to deal a little more damage to Lioness. We're now going to block Sabretooth so that they can't knock out Ostracai. Now we do some damage to Sabretooth. And we're going to move Sprecko in front of Ostracai because that's where the AI wants to hit. Some things to know. When you're in the front row, you get a power boost to all of your moves. I do actually need to click a normal volume, not refresh there. When you're in the front row, you get a power boost. When you're in the back row, you get a defense boost. If you have someone in front of another beastie in the front row, like they're stacked there, they get both the power and the defense boost. Not really important for Sprecko there, we really just want Sprecko to take that hit. We got the partners relationship type, there are a couple options. I'm also gonna lose this fight real quick just to gain a little bit more experience. And Ostracai learned shield early, which is nice, I suppose. We'll take that now. Ideally, we'd like it a little bit later. We're also going to lose this fight. The reason why we need to lose the previous fight is because this fight is mandatory. There is no way to skip it other than just forfeiting out. And by the time we forfeit out, we might as well just lose. And that Servant doesn't actually have a move it can surf with, so it can only use Free Ball. So we basically need Ostracai to either be at 1 HP, which it can be after the Jack fight. Jack being that rival there that we fought early on. I also need this shiny object, I forgot. I went any percent mode for a second. We can usually be on 1 HP from the Jack fight, but again, there are some iterations of it where the AI decides to do something slightly different, and nice shot there. And it means that we, you know, aren't on 1 HP, meaning we can't get knocked out right away by the Servant. Either way, here's the grabbing warp point section of the run. We're going to jump on this fence to make sure that Beetleback doesn't chase us. Grab a warp point up on that screen. We're going to head over this way now. Grabbing an exercise video over here, which is going to get us an extra level later in the run. Grabbing that warp point there. And now we're going to head off to get even more warp points, because there are lots of places we need to go in this run. We're exploring, I'd say, a good, like, 70% of the game. Oh. Nice. Okay, that skip is entirely impossible on some spawns, but I got a spawn there that made it work, so we get to go past there without even having to fight. Sometimes that doesn't happen. And that makes up for a bit of the time we lost due to having to take the Zephyr fight, which is nice. Grabbing a warp point in Begonia over there. Now we're going to grab a warp point up here in the Myconia Grove. We're going to need to be back here later. We'll be back here pretty soon. There are other places where we won't be back as soon. But we're also here going to grab a Super Attract Spray, which is going to help us recruit one more beastie later at as high a level as we possibly can. Obviously, I don't think I need to explain why being a high level is generally useful in a game like this. Couple more things to do here. We're going to go grab the Super Athletic Spray as opposed to the Attract Spray. This is going to double our experience gain for a while, which is going to be obviously very useful for pumping up our level super quickly. We're now going to head off to another area where we need to visit because there's a ranked coach there. We're going to grab this sparkling object on the way. Unfortunately, not quite possible to skip Wizard and Big Jazz Boy here. I don't need to go down that rope. Grab that warp point. We're going to fight Jean later, not quite yet. That skibble was in the way. We're heading through the mines backwards. Usually you're supposed to come at this from, like, the bottom. But we just need to get to Jasper, which is below this. So we're going to go here and grab this exercise video and then fall off those cliffs and forget that there's a rock there that I can't run through. And now we're down here basically in Jasper, and I'm running into beasties because I'm bad at the game. This is Jasper. We're going to set up another ranked coach fight here with Kaz. We see the Sports King there for a second. We're going to go in here, but Kaz isn't going to fight us yet, because, in the words of pretty much everyone else in town, he's a loser and no one shows up. So we are now going to get a little bit of experience. I forgot that I do need to actually heal. I'm gonna lie to Caroline and get her to come watch the Beastieball match that won't be taking place for another hour. And then while we're here, we're gonna fight Ida now that we're healed. And we can just one-shot her team because we're a little higher level and I hit the wrong side. Dang it! That Separate has shield, which means, you know, it can take a hit. Which obviously is not good because we should be able to one-shot all the beasties here. We get very little experience from this, but it is a required fight, so we are doing it. There's also one other thing I forgot to do, and I'm going to just do this while I'm here, now that I know I need to do that, which is I need to sell some shiny objects in a second. I'm gonna tell Kenta there that they should come watch. Our Kaz match is officially scheduled now, but we aren't gonna do it yet. We're just gonna dip. Sell all these objects, and we're warping all the way back to mainframe. And we're going to go down and head off to Kokeliko Beach, where there's an item or two we need to pick up, as well as some warp points to get. Get a call from Riley there, because we're registered for a ranked coach fight now. And she's really excited for us. But we're not going to do a ranked coach for a hot second. Snipe that as we run past. Another Guardian skip here, which is pretty tricky. But first, we're going to buy a jersey patch from Walter here. That's because, again, we're going to be recruiting another beastie there. That was an awful skip. We're going to be recruiting another beastie later. That'll increase its coached percentage, or basically, like, which is a stat that basically determines how good other stats are. Either way, we now have the super athletic spray, so that means we are straight off to Grand Town. We're going to lose to Jack a few times here. This is another place where Jack is kind of a roadblock, or at least meant to be a roadblock. We will see in about 5 fights that that is not really the case. As there's a fun little skip we're going to do. Jack is not exactly the fastest to grind against, but does have a property that, like, Jack isn't the most efficient experience on the first go-around, but they have a property that basically means the experience we get from fighting them doesn't diminish every point. Most other fights in the game, your experience level, the experience you gain from each point will diminish over time. Jack's doesn't. So we're going to be getting like about 2,000 experience, if not a little bit more, every time we lose here. And we're only going to move away once that stops being quite as efficient as losing 1 time to the Guardians that are in the next area. We're going to head up to, I believe, level 26 here. And then we're going to go off and head off to 1,000 views. So one more fight should get us to 26. We haven't fully worked out what the exact optimal experience route is. Again, it varies somewhat based on whether Jack decides to mess with you or leave you at 1 HP, but either way, we're at a good amount of experience right now, so we're going to actually come over here and lose to the Beetleback that we ran into earlier. The reason why we didn't do this earlier is because obviously we didn't have the athletic spray up, which is doubling all of our experience. Lose to that Beetleback once. Now we're going to do this fun little skip here where I jump on a tree and get jumped into a cutscene with Celia there. Celia is the head of the Beastie Research Society. We saw them earlier. We are now going to lose to this Bendiva. Gain a whole bunch of experience from that. Ostracite learns Thump, which is nice. That's going to be one of our main attacking options for the rest of the game. Head up here now, and we're going to lose to this Imposter as well. We want to give all of these serve, because if they serve, that means we don't have to serve, and they don't take 3 actions on their counter serve. So we obviously want to give up serve to these whenever we can. I did also forget something earlier, which is I do need to actually have clear field on Sprecco. So let's fix that now before I forget. We're going to need that to make Frufolk's recruit condition faster, and I am missing the mark here. There we go. So here we're going to divert from the any percent route a bit more. We need to grab this star jersey. You can see the little gift hiding back there. I am forgetting where the targets are. We're going to grab this star jersey. We're also going to head down a screen, because there's a whole bunch more experience on this screen in the form of this fight with Frack the Waddle, which we're actually going to lose twice, because Frack is guarding an item which we want in a sparkling object, which is, you know, that's $120 sitting on the ground, along with, you know, a whole bunch of experience. Losing to Frack twice is quite efficient, because they give, I think, the most experience out of any Guardian in this area. In any percent, we don't go here, because we never actually have to go onto, like, this water layer, because we don't need to get the jersey. But now we're actually going to skip doing the puzzle to get past here and just jump on that recycling bin. Head straight off here. Lose to this Debugly here. Again, just once here, because the diminishing returns are pretty high on anything that's not Jack. 2 more losses we have to take after this, or 3 more actually. Grab that conditioning ticket there, another item which is going to increase our Frufolk's coach percentage. We're gonna head on to the next screen over here and then immediately jump back, because there are some power tokens here, which we're going to use for gym trading later. The reason why we need a lot of money is because you can spend money to train your beastie's stats at a gym. Those power tokens can do the same thing, and that's basically $120 worth of items. Lose to this Plume Mask real quick, and we're almost done. There's 34. You hear me clapping a bunch, it's me mashing the skip cutscene button a little more than I need to. Lose to this Magpike. Last Guardian. Ostracite learns the final move we're going to be using for the rest of the game in launch. Good stuff. And we're going to sneak right up here and head on over to 1,000 Views. This is sort of intended to be the, like, last town you get to in the game. We come here first because there's a bunch of stuff we want. That is a glimmering object. That is an exercise video. And again, there's a warp point here, obviously, and we're going to need to come back here because we're going to need to fight Dominic later, as he is one of the ranked coaches. We watched this little end of a fight between Dominic and Valerie here. Quick moment where I can take a drink of water and pause my talking. And now we're going to lose to Dominic real quick. We also want to come here because it gives us another option to sell some items. So sell those. I'm going to sell these jerseys as well because I don't need them, and I might need the extra $20, who knows. And now we're going to go lose. So Dominic is faster than some of the others. Kind of faster than the Guardians, kind of not. We do need to do this setup at some point, so like that's not a time waster. There's that little walk through the locker room, but there's 3 points here rather than 2, and he gives a lot of experience if we're close to his level. Which we aren't yet, but you know, it'll be enough to get Ostracite up to level 36, and that means they metamorph into Castle Elite. Reminding myself what the order of things to do here is. Castle Elite now gets a full heal, something I didn't mention about Metamorphs. And since Sprecko was on 100 HP already, 100 stamina, we don't need to deal with any of that. Anyway, we're pumping up Castle Elite now, giving them some exercise videos, and we are going to go obtain a Fruit Volks. I forgot to use my attract spray, so I'm just going to head straight back to this screen real quick to make sure we have that active. No, I do want Surf. What am I thinking? I don't want to click launch here. Fruit Volks' recruit condition is that we heal 5 times. We're going to sit in the back row here because none of these have any sideways moves. So we can click refresh and clear field here. I am actually going to hit in a Magpike here because I think that makes it slightly less likely that Sprecko gets hit here. Heartbreaker will unfortunately knock out Sprecko. Okay, and we get unlucky. Cool. In that case, we're going to go back and heal and be a little bit sad because we're not going to get as much experience out of stuff as we would like to. But we can just try again. And hope that our Fruit Volks actually spawns. They're not that rare. But sometimes they don't show up. Usually, this is actually the first time that I've been on this screen trying to get a Fruit Volks that one hasn't showed up. So that's fun. We see a Garud here, which is much better for our prospects. Let's move Castle to the front, actually. They just free ball right off the bat, which is nice because it means we can click clear field twice, and that's 4 of our 5 heals. I'm just going to block the Fruit Volks to make sure we aren't taking too much damage. And with another clear field, that's 5 heals, and we should be able to knock out this Garud if it doesn't move to the back, meaning we can recruit Fruit Volks. So here we go. Use the jersey patch. And continue. Next, we have Fruit Volks now. We're actually going to warp straight up here and heal. I am also going to edit Fruit Volks' moves real quick. We don't really need Calming Aura, so we're going to take Bring the Heat and Careful Shot for now. Anyway, we're going to deal a whole bunch of damage to Reese's Beasties here. Despite Fruit Volks being on our team now, we don't need it to level up much. It's more of a utility option than it is a damaging option. Despite the fact that it can put on some decent damage, it's nowhere near Castle Elite's level. Castle Elite currently, after we used the Spa Salts earlier, has an ability called Overwork, which, if you're familiar with Pokemon, it's basically a life orb. It increases our damage potential. Every move does times 1.2 damage, which, you know, is very nice. In exchange for 10% of our HP every time we attack. So basically, the reason why we go for Illigus and Fruit Volks as our partners here is because, one, Illigus is a metamorph of Sprecko, as we're about to see here, which we get at the start of the game. And Fruit Volks has an ability called Treat, which when we tag it in, heals Castle Elite by 20. Very useful stuff. Anyway, Illigus is also useful because it has an ability Trapper and a move Lay Trap, which set up basically... well, I don't want that. Let's get Sneak Attack for now. I'm going to use it a little bit. I also need to make sure we have Lay Trap. There we go. I also forgot to do something else first, which is we do need to go over here and fight Jean. We have an item we need to acquire here, just making sure I don't attack the Skibble, because the Skibble can sometimes click shield. Not an issue if there's a Millbind on the field, because they have Watchtower and will take all attacks if the Skibble doesn't move anywhere. But either way, that just gets us the King's Letter, which is an item we need later to access one of the ranked coach fights. But anyway, now we're heading down here. Getting a boating license so we can start crossing the sea, which we are immediately going to do, and we're going to head over to Chartreuse, where we will eventually fight Sun Tzu. We are going to fight my least favorite Guardian in the game, in Gary, in order to get there. Gary has this wonderful move called Sting, which is going to make this fight take 3 turns rather than 2. That's all. Sting makes us tired. Tired is a very annoying feeling, which we will run into a couple times later in the run. Basically just means we can't do anything but free ball and basic volley. Which slows us down. But again, there's no faster way to beat this fight, so does it really slow us down? So we're gonna land on Chartreuse. I don't need to heal yet. Do I need to heal yet? I don't need to heal yet. We're gonna head in here. The King's Letter is needed for access to the Mermaid Club here. We're gonna splash some water on our face so we can go on the dance floor later and feel okay about ourselves, like not having a really dirty face. But either way, before that, we need to beat the bouncer in a game of Beastieball here. This is Sharon. He wants to challenge us to see if he can work up the confidence to go say hi to Sun Tzu, but he unfortunately does not win. So we're just gonna head back. Sun Tzu can call us bro, that's fine. And we're gonna go dance with him for a bit. And a bit of a flashing lights warning for this part. Sorry that it's late. We're just gonna dance as quickly as we can. Unfortunately, don't get to skip this cutscene. Sometimes you can skip that cutscene, sometimes you can't, which slows us down. Oh well. Either way, there we go. That's Sun Tzu. While we're here, I'm actually going to head to the gym. Our athletic spray wears off a little early, obviously, because... oh, gym's on the other side. Oops. I don't usually use this gym, which is why I forgot. Oh, I don't need it yet. I'm going to... Right. I'm forgetting things. Now that I was there, it like might have made sense, but we're actually going to Barrel. I'm still learning the route because I made it very recently. I did need to heal there, actually, so we're gonna have to... our beasties all get wiped after dancing very hard for a while, so I need to head over to this campsite. 2 Silusks! Silusks are not a very common spawn here. That is impressive. Anyway. Couple launches here. We need to beat this quest. There's a way to skip past this whole quest line if you're doing any percent, but there's a ranked coach which we can't beat if we don't do the quest, so we're going to talk to Ziggy here and get a jersey of theirs. We're then going to chat to Walter here, who is going to have their Circus Lime tell us who that Beastie's coach was. And then we're gonna go wrap up that quest by finding the Ziggy. Ziggy is the tort anchor, the giant tort anchor there. There is a lot to say about this run, and it all goes very quickly. Anyway, this is Autumn, who is Ziggy's coach's granddaughter. And just get the last thing from that quest. Right, I forgot I only have 1 item to sell, but either way, we're gonna warp out to the rail house here. Just as a quicker way to get to the gym. How much money do I have? Not as much as I'd like, but hey, it's enough to give Iligus some study tokens. That is the right one. I doubted myself for a moment. I did not need to. Iligus gets those. Fruit Bulks is going to get a conditioning ticket, and we're going to use some cardio tokens later. We now, while we're here, are going to activate Riven's fight, so we can do that later. We're now going to go fight Bungus. That's why we got this warp point 20 minutes ago. Skip past that Guardian just by running along the wall. We're going to give Bungus Surf, because if we don't give Bungus Surf, we actually won't be able to two-shot it. And, you know, two-shotting things is nice when we're trying to go fast. It's going to use Drum here, which means, you know, we deal the full 206 damage. Just volley and refresh. I suppose I can talk about our plays real quick. Iligus and Fruit Bulks both have a volley play called Refresh, which heals the ally by 15. Obviously, very useful when our Castle Elite is quite good at taking its own HP down. We're now just going to wrap up that quest line. Ziggy goes back into the ocean, and we skip the cutscene. And then we're going to fight Sergus, the last of the 3 rowdy beasties. We're going to move Castle Elite to the front here. And just make sure that we can two-shot here. I may not be able to, actually, because I may have forgotten to do something, but hopefully we're fine. I think after we're blocked, this is going to be slightly short, but oh well. Yep. 9 HP short. Oh well. That's fine. Yeah, Surgus has an ability called Performer, which boosts defense by 1.5 whenever the rally field effect is up. Anyway, now that we're here, we're just going to warp back to this campsite out here, saves a little bit of movement, and head back over to the dock, because we need to go to Gamboge. Which is just around here in this spot here, if you see my mouse, where Ziggy was a moment ago. But now we can get through. We're actually going to do our first ranked coach fight while we're out here. That being Marcy. So we're going to take on Marcy, including her crew, in the pirate show. This is a... the reason why we do this one first is because there is a very tricky, like, variant on Beastieball, which we participate in here, called Captain's Mode. Anyway, we have a few dialogue options we want to pick here, so we gain a little bit of money, and we need to go find some treasure, and we happen to know where those are. So we need to make sure we pick the right dialogue options, and we're gonna just one-shot stuff real quick. We unfortunately do run into Sting there, but we only need to win 1 point. Basically, Captain's Mode means you have one beastie you can't switch out. That's the first one in your party. And they need to be knocked out in order for a point to be scored. I'm just gonna block Jingle here, save an action. So despite that Zyposaur being on 1 HP and it, you know, being logical for them to switch out, we can in fact just click Brutal, which is fun. So that's the 2 treasures we needed to find. We're gonna get a full heal before Marcy, so I don't need to heal. I always need to remind myself that. And now, the wonders of doing this fight first. We can one-shot 3 points in a row. We don't score a point there, you see, as the monthly redirects us. And the captains, notably, get restored every point. But if we did any other ranked coach first, we would not be able to one-shot this Tort Anchor. Which is why we do Marcy first. We get a bit of money there, which is nice. I need to remember where we're going now. We're going to Begonia. As we have a battle with Celia to set up, which we aren't going to do yet. We also have that quest line with Reese to resolve. So we're going to challenge Celia. We also get a sponsor. And we're going to head right back out. Probably could have warped there. Get a call from Craig. I'm also gonna go to the gym while we're here. And just, I think we have the money to do this now. Yes, we do. Buff up Fruit Folks' attack, and that's all the gym training we're gonna need to do until we get a whole bunch more exercise videos later. So, we're heading off to Solanum Weld now. A whole bunch of overworld puzzles here and some guardians that are going to be pretty hard to skip. We're just going to forfeit against them. They don't get us very much experience, so it's not exactly worthwhile to fight them. Is there a ball back here? There is not. I always forget that. So I do, in fact, need to grab a ball over here. And we're going to throw them at these suspicious-looking walls. They are, in fact, beasties spreading some gas. Very cool world building stuff in this game all around. I highly recommend checking it out if you have no idea what it is. It's fantastic. Don't quite hit the warp zone there, or the loading zone, unfortunately, but either way, just grab that ball, head on up here, skip one last guardian. Again, not worthwhile fighting them, especially because that one, that sea kit there has Sting, so it's not worth our time. We need a ball here. There's a rail house there, but we don't need to deal with it. We're just heading right up here. and activating this fight, and I forgot to lead with Fruit Pulse. Part of the reason we want a Fruit Pulse is they can actually deal damage to those beasties, which we just ran into. The Gastic line, full of Gastic, Whisper, and Mystic, who we will never see in this run, has an ability called Intangible, which means they're immune to body attacks. That, of course, being the main attacking type that Cathlete uses. This fight does unfortunately take 3 turns as they decide to use Stinky on us, which means we're shook and can't attack, but that's fine. We can just sit in the back row here and then one-shot once more a turn later. And there we go. We get an error with our payout there because some story stuff is happening. So we're going to be earning slightly less money for the rest of the game, but that's not an issue because we have spent all the money we need. I can buy 1 electrolytes, and I'm just going to do that for safety here. Anyway, this is a normal shop with a Beastieball center on the roof. So we're going to head up the tower now. This is all required stuff, and we're going to do a whole bunch of one-shotting. Except I forgot that they're switching in. That's fine. We don't even really have to defend here, because they're just sitting in the back row in Iligus, which isn't an issue. Anyway. Whole bunch of one-shotting here. It's amusing that with Cathlete, I think these fights get easier as you go along. I think the next fight we just one-shot easily, and then the next one, despite there being some fully metamorph beasties, it's like it's even easier. We do unfortunately have to deal with my least favorite move in speedrun, Sting, though. So we will be dealing with that. Do you have a sideways move? You do not have a sideways move. Cool. Important things to check. I don't have to defend if they don't have a sideways move, but I do have to defend if they do, so... important stuff. Despite the fact that we're on 25 HP, we will be fine. Because we are just going to serve twice against Alessia here and get 2 points. Did I get the exercise video out here? Chat, answer the question. Did I get the exercise video out here? I don't think I did. I think I forgot it. Anyway, skip the cutscene there, talk to Callisto, and we're gonna go one-shot her team. Down to begin match, let's go. Valerie's gonna have some stuff to say to us there. She's the 7-time reigning champion of the league. Anyway, we can't quite one-shot everything. But that's fine. We can just sort of block someone here. Unfortunately, I forgot who was going to attack, so either way, it's fine. We just lost a little bit of time there, but we're gonna one-shot 3 times on this bottom row now. Our own Iligus learned Sting there, but it's not really ever very useful. The Sports King wants to talk to us. Anyway, we're just gonna go check real quick that I did get that video. I don't think I remembered it. Yep, that's an exercise video. That's a level, and we're gonna need it later. We're now gonna head back to Donayan Park, and remember when we lost Jack a whole bunch earlier? Let's beat her. Reese also has some words on the conversation that they had with Celia earlier. Anyway, we're going to jump on that fence so we don't have to deal with that fight. Fun little skip. Some more things to grab here. We have there a conditioning ticket again. I unfortunately there. This is my least favorite room in the game. We're gonna head down here and grab an exercise video, which is of course on the other side where I didn't run. And Dip back around there. Try and skip that Gremlin and fail. And we're going to head back up here to fight Elena, the third of the 3 ranked coaches we will be doing before registering for the Crown Series. I almost fell off there because I got a little spicy with it, but we're good. We're going to head over here and just heal real quick. And now, the reason why we can't do Elena first is because we need to unlock SportNet so we can connect to this local network in the Zip Station and get to beat up a bunch of people. We unfortunately cannot two-shot this. I'm remembering which side I need to hit, and that is the Beetleback. We do get a hit on the rookie there, but the Beetleback will come in and we won't be able to one-shot it, unfortunately, with anything on our team. Rocket from a Beastie 10 levels below us isn't going to really do very much to Illigus, so we're just going to, you know, knock out the Beetleback here. Just going to heal real quick to make sure we're good. And once again, connect to SportNet. And then we're going to fight this guy who just wants to be on stream. The next ranked coach we're fighting, Elena, is a streamer who is fairly popular in the universe. And this guy's just a fan with a awful team who wants to show up and be on stream. But now we're going to get to fight Elena's meme team, which has some silly things that can happen if you aren't able to one-shot every beastie on it with launch. So we're doing fine. So that unlocks her ranked match, which we're going to go do immediately. Sports King is here, because of course he is. He's everywhere. We hate him. And we're going to beat Elena. So Moxie's going to use Mighty Yell here, which is a little annoying. We're going to check the chat to see who they're attacking, and the answer is Castle Elite. So we're actually going to block Freezy here, and this is a pretty quick pattern here. Elena can do a lot of random things, but this means we can click Lay Trap twice, which is going to help us deal a whole bunch of damage on switch-ins to beasties like Aim, which we might otherwise not knock out on switch-ins. And we knock out Wolf on the switch here as the main one. So there we go. That's Elena. We are now, with the Sports King's help, going to be at rank 96, which means we are, with a platinum sponsor in the BRS, ready to take on the Crown Series, in theory. We are not going to take on the Crown Series yet. We are simply going to go enter so that a few things happen. We activate a couple endgame fights, one of which is with Jack. Spoilers incoming, by the way. One of which is with Jack, one of which is with Reese. We're going to do the Reese one first right here. And then after that, there is like one more fight before the Crown Series, which we're going to do. But either way, I also forgot that we are going to put Frufolks up front and hopefully one-shot all these kids. I need to make sure that Frufolks gets up to level 46, or level 45, sorry. Because there will learn a move called Scream, which we're going to use, I think, maybe once in the game. We're gonna kill these kids. No, geez, not that. We're gonna take out all of these kids' teams very easily because obviously we're quite over-leveled. We just want our Frufolks to hit level 45. Unfortunately here we don't quite one-shot, but it's fine. We do need to move Castle Elite up there to deal more damage. I also clicked the wrong beastie there, so we're going to be taking an extra turn. but we might gain a little bit more experience, but due to more things being in the point, that tends to be how things work. Anyway, wasting a bit of time. Oh well. If you hear me clapping, it's me mashing the skip cutscene button, if I didn't mention that already. I don't need to click it as much as I do, but I click it a lot. Alright, Brooklocks and Castleet become sweethearts, which is silly and cute. Either way, so we should see the Grub Iron switch in here. No sideways moves, so we can just chill here. And with that, that's the kids, and they're going to give us 3 exercise videos for the time we gave them, because they don't know how to use them. The joke is they're VHS tapes. But either way, now we are going to go, let's leave Roof up front, actually. We're going to go beat Reese. Let's use that electrolytes, actually. I have one of those. That would be helpful right now, just to sort of make sure we're not doing stuff. We're going to gain a bunch of experience from this. Which is why I want Fruit Hulks up front, because if we don't have Fruit Hulks up front, we aren't going to hit the level I want. Either way, we do also want Illigus to gain some experience, so I'm going to move them up in now, because I think that's all we really need. Oh, don't need to do that. Let me undo that real quick. This game has an undo function. It's real nice. You can just right-click. Either way, take out Jim there, and then we're gonna one-shot. There's level 45, so we don't need Proof in the battle anymore until quite a while from now. We one-shot Jeremy and Jim in the back. Good stuff. Or Jeremy and Jared, sorry. So that's Reese, that's his quest line wrapped up. We also are going to not go in that zip station, because I don't need to, because, spoilers! We're gonna fight Riley next. Riley is Jack. And she's gonna heal us before the fight. Did I forget to move Fruit to the back? I did, okay. That shouldn't change stuff too much. But either way, I can launch into Manticore here. What's gonna happen here? I'm gonna shield Castle Elite so that we're on pretty decent HP still. Hopefully I'm not messing up my route too much. But we can actually just take out Sabretooth here, unless they block, which unfortunately they do. Okay, I've made some mistakes. Let's just lose this point. They're gonna use Quick Set, and that'll be enough to actually take out Castle Elite there, and we can't shield 2 turns in a row because we get angry, which means we can only use attacking moves. But by losing that point, I guess we get a little bit more experience, which never hurts, and make sure that Castle Elite doesn't go down. Unfortunately, we also don't have traps up, because I forgot to lead Illigus, so it's going a little bit slowly. But hey, we have time for that. And besides, whoever switches in here is getting a Rude Awakening. Except no one switches in there because they know better. And we're gonna also just one-shot whoever switches in here. That's 2 points, and here's the 3rd. And we like the costume. Because in this stream, we love Riley. Anyway, so doing that fight now means that there are a couple fights against Jack that would happen later into the game, which we won't have to run into. We're gonna move Illigus up to the front again. We're gonna go to Shield and Breaker for 1 fight. Big spoiler time. We are going to fight a very large beastie in a moment. Basically, the environment isn't doing so hot because the league is producing too many balls. Anyway, this is Sloom. They are a very ancient beastie. And we're gonna lose a couple points to them because we're allowed to, because Rowdy Beastie fights are very tricky. The Rowdy Beasties, if I didn't explain this earlier when we were, you know, one-shotting the ones at the shroom colonies, Rowdy Beasties have a lot of HP. So we're gonna whittle through it a little bit on the first couple turns, and it's gonna use Sting. Something I didn't mention about Sting, which we really actually love in this fight, is whenever someone uses it, whenever a beastie uses it, they use 20 of their own stamina. Which over the fight, you know, if it's used several times, amounts to quite a bit. So I'm gonna check some calcs here. Castlete does not quite go down, and neither does Illigus. So I need to check the AI. I think what's going to happen here is Castlete is going to get attacked. I do need Illigus to stay in, so I'm going to move Illigus to the back here behind Castlete, so Castlete takes slightly less damage. You see Quake being set up there. Quake is a field effect, which deals damage whenever you volley, so basically we don't ever want to do that. I'll explain more about it later. But here, we used Breaker last turn, which actually lowers Shloom's body defense slightly, and that allows us to do just a little bit more damage. Our beasties are having some relationship drama, which might actually mess with the route a bit. But either way, we now could enter the Crown Series, but we're not going to do that because we have some ranked coaches we need to fight. Those in order are going to be, and I need to remember this, this is the gauntlet part of the run, where we do just a whole bunch of stuff real quick. I'm going to save my exercise videos for later. We're going to start with Ribbon. Ribbon we want to do now, her Crown Series fight here is going to be quite similar to the one that we would do in the Crown Series in any percent, because she shows up there if you've only beaten one ranked coach or, you know, 4 ranked coaches, but instead we're going to be, you know, a little bit, we're going to see basically the same team come out from her here. Meaning we can just do the same things we do in any percent. We set up a couple traps after blocking Bursky there, and then just one shot through the block. Alright, hopefully this relationship drama doesn't cause issues. Beastie's relationships evolve and change over the course of a game. Because, you know, they're autonomous beings. They have thoughts and feelings. It's great. Gives them all a lot of personality, but sometimes they don't like working well together. Next, we are going to go fight Kaz. This is the last moment where we'll be able to one-shot everything Kaz can throw at us, so we're doing it now. You can see the whole town that's really tired and bored because they've been waiting there for about 40 minutes for this fight to start. Anyway, we're going to hit Cherry first because Bolt is going to click shield. Alright. And there we go. That's Kaz. That's why we do him now. If we do him later, can't one-shot everything. So, hopefully that's pretty self-explanatory. We are now going to do tennis mode, which is an annoying little mode that the Sports King decides to throw at us. And I always forget it's here. Tennis mode is no volleys. Is Airblast gonna kill Castlete? I didn't quite follow the flowchart here, so... Oh, it's splitting. Okay, cool. Well, we get a little bit more experience for our troubles, I guess. And Provokes is back out, which is really annoying. Because that means I have to pre-ball here and then switch back in. This is Barnes. We saw him a little bit earlier. We're going to see him again in the Crown Series. Oh, did we just get... Yup, there's the relationship drama. These two are going to become rivals in a moment, I think. So we're actually just going to lose this fight, and that's fine. Oh, I forgot that we could have actually won that fight, but oh well. because Freewall was there. Anyway, now we are going to go fight Celia. Again, we're doing Celia now because we want to be able to one-shot their beasties. I don't need to go up here. I just totally muscle memored going up there because that's where I usually go when I warp here late game in any percent. But anyway, we got some one-shots to do. Again, if we do Celia a little bit later, we are not quite able to one-shot all of their beasties. So, worthwhile to do it now rather than later, because Sun Tzu, we couldn't one-shot all of his beasties anyway. So we're doing him second to last. Vigor Beam is a nice move, which we are unfortunately not going to use at all, because it doesn't really work very well with overwork. Anyway, back down to Chartreuse. I'm gonna head to the gym now, actually, and just train up Castellite's level with some videos, and also make sure Froof is at full coaching percentage with that last conditioning ticket. There we go. Something we could also do in 1,000 views in a bit when we go to fight Dominic after this, but are you two? Yeah, you're rivals now. Okay, cool. I skipped the cutscene where that happened, I guess. As I said, relationships evolve over the course of the game. We don't knock out Pong here. Okay. So we're actually going to hit Quarters either way, because Quarters is going to click Mighty Yell. We're then going to see, I believe... This is the one ranked coach fight where I actually have to think like a little bit, because it's not one I've done very often. But either way, we're going to set up some traps so that things take more damage. Knockout Boxer there. I believe I could use Rivals here. No, I'm going to need that in a minute, so no. Either way, we again want to hit Quarters, because Quarters is going to continue using Mighty Yell otherwise. We're going to see Vigor Beam here from the front row. So we're actually just going to block Dunk. Especially if it goes into Cathlete, that's super nice then. Get more traps up, just for more damage. I think Dunk is going to... Oh, Dunk doesn't have shield. Okay, well in that case we're hitting Dunk. Dunk has shield in if you do this fight somewhat earlier. But thankfully, right now, it doesn't. So that's Sun Tzu. We have one more ranked coach to go, and that being Dominic. Dominic, of course, being the hardest one, and the one that we lost to near the start of the run. Rest and heal right there. Let me flip over, because I actually have the notes for this. Castellite is level 54, Ilu is 47, and Fruitbox is 46, which is the correct levels for this. Oh, and I forgot I don't actually need the combo to be ready, so I could have used it against Sun Tzu. We are going to launch into Bo. Bo is going to use a move called Ricochet, which is going to deal a whole lot of damage to us, and actually knock out Castellite if we don't click Block here. But the importance of Block here is we are now going to lay trap twice, and here, Ruth the Supalero is going to switch in, take 32 damage from traps and 69 damage from our attack there, which is just enough to knock them out. Now we're going to see Serena swapping in, Serena the Lunaptra. We're going to shield Castellite because the AI sees a KO in Castellite. Can you tell I've routed this fight? We're going to volley, refresh, and thump into Serena. Again, going to switch out, this time into Ali the Apostle. And Castellite, you'll note, is now going to go down to Overwork. We want this, because we're about to get a free point. Bo likes clicking shield on defensive turns when they're going to go down, so we're going to tag Fruitbox in there. And now we're going to tag Iligas in here, doing a little bit of a dance. And now, Bo, you see, will go down to Scream, so they're going to shield, and that means we can just careful shot the front row. And they changed up on me. Okay. Well, that's probably fine. Is that fine? That's fine. Okay, we're fine. We're going to see Rumble and Ricochet here, but we shouldn't lose. Okay, things I was not expecting to happen. Number one, that. Okay. Actually, we may not be fine. I'm just going to forfeit the fight and try again, because I think I'm losing. Okay. I have not seen Bo move up there before. But the good thing to know about that is, judging by the damage calcs, if I had moved Fruitpulks to the front row, Careful Shot would have also knocked it out. So there's that. Either way, this should be exactly the same. We're just like slightly higher level, so we're doing slightly more damage. But the fight should go the same. Again, knockout Ruth here. Yeah, we're just like 1 HP higher. It's fine. So again, just refresh here. Nice thing about shield, it always leaves you on 1 HP if you were higher than 1 HP when you were tough, when you became tough, basically. Tough is a status which is very useful. It basically quarters the damage you take, and again, you can't get knocked out. You can't get knocked out, basically. Again, unless you're on 1 HP. Which may come up later. Either way, gonna remember to move to the front row this time and Careful Shot, and then Bo falls down. So, that's Dominic, that's every ranked coach. We now just have to beat the Crown Series. So we're gonna warp all the way over here. We're gonna check the coach just to make sure. We're rank 11 because we lost a couple times, but that's fine. We should still only see Marlon in the Crown Series. So off we go. I'm gonna buy 5 billion electrolytes. By that I mean 72. Talk to Herbert here so we can gain entry. And let me just safety save. I'd like this to be an RTA run that I can upload if it is not a completed run. Anyway, here's Marlon. We have a lot of flowcharts here, but it mostly resolves around the same thing, which is we're going to block Noir and never hit them. Illigus here is going to click traps as much as we can. We're going to see Pearl switch in here for Bluey. And once again, going to block Noir. A bit of a toss-up who they attack, basically, and that can change the rest of the fight. So, lay trap here. Ruby is going to switch in here because I don't think I would have KO'd if not for setting up that last layer of traps. I am now going to consult my flowchart. If Cass 80 and Halo hit twice, I am moving Cass Elite in front of Illigus. So we are going to volley and refresh and just hit Goldie here. Noir is now going to take the free point and hit into the side row, but Cass Elite can take that hit, so we're just going to move over. What the AI doesn't realize is that they do have a kill with Cut Shot on Goldie there. But the thing about Cut Shot is the AI doesn't like using it if it doesn't have to. Either way. Just a little more stuff to do. Ruby comes in and unfortunately doesn't go down, so hopefully what we see here and what we saw entirely through routing is Cass Elite getting attacked rather than Illigus, so we now win because the AI has nothing left to switch in. And that's Marlon. Now going to heal. Manually for the first time in the run. We use electrolytes because it's nice, it can heal us even if we're wiped. Anyway, here's Barnes. This is a hard fight, but not as hard as Marlon. Interestingly, his AI takes a bit of time to think there. The speedrun timer helpfully pauses whenever the AI thinking happens. We get an ideal fight here, wherein we are now going to be able to... oh gosh, what do I do here? I hit Carlos here. There's still quite a lot of flowcharting here. Either way, we shield Cass Elite. Once again, we have 4 traps up, so using traps again isn't very useful. Lewis is going to click shield here, so we're going to attack Carlos. And something we never want to do is we never want to hit Fernando here, who's going to tag in with a move, because they have Tough Front and Whistle, both very useful moves, when used in combination, requiring us to hit them, basically making them noisy, which means attacks attack them. and tough, meaning, again, we can't knock them out. What I need to remember here is that Lewis is actually going to use shield, so I just need to use careful shot and get a free point and then knock out Lewis right here. Yep, I have enough traps up. Cool, we're good. There we go. That's Barnes. Castle Lead goes down, but again, it doesn't matter because the fight's won. Electrolytes on Castle Lead, and we're off the races against Jean. Jean, we're gonna attack Fanon first because Foucault likes to shield. We're now gonna block Foucault. They're gonna use Rainbow into the back row. Refresh, set some traps up, and does Rivals... Ooh, hold on. Okay. I'm actually gonna play a little bit off script here. We're just gonna have just enough damage there to knock out Beauvoir, which is very useful because they like using Clearfield, which is annoying because it takes our traps away. Anyway, we're gonna see another Rainbow here, most likely from Rousseau, and Fanon's gonna run at the front row. So again, just quick block, refresh, get more traps up. Thump here won't knock out Fanon, unfortunately. Little bit of a downside of me using Rivals there is now Fanon isn't down. I could have also used Rivals to knock out Fanon. But either way, Rousseau's going to use Rainbow again, so we're just going to block again. And Iligas is on pretty low HP, but it doesn't matter because I think we're just going to win. Fanon should switch out here. If they don't, then Jean is throwing. Fortunately, I don't have quite enough to... Okay, Rousseau. I'm going to tag out into Iligas here. You see Clearfield get used there. It's a little annoying as it gets rid of all our traps. I don't have the script written down for this fight because it's not as random as some of the others, but either way. I think Beauvoir's gonna block me here, but I'm not entirely sure. Let's risk it. Okay, they didn't. Cool. Got it right. And now launch kills whoever's here. Alright, we're actually going to use Fruitbolts one last time here for the final fight with Valerie. This is hype mode. We don't have to win this fight, so we're going to lose this fight as quickly as possible by sending a free ball there, answering Marlon's call because he's calling us while we're in a match, and hopefully we see nice shot here, and that should knock out Fruitbolts in one hit. We can speed up this fight significantly by losing 3 points in a row, and that means we don't have to fill that height meter on the right side of the screen. So now we just continue losing points until the game's over. There are a lot of cutscenes here, so I'll be clapping a lot, and this time it does matter. Because every coach we fought is coming to say hi and complain about how much the league sucks lately. We lose a lot of points, because there are a lot of coaches. 26, there will be, I think, 2 more. We're going to see 107 and then 998. Yep. $9.98, and this is the last point. Lots of cutscenes to skip. And there we go. That, after we talk to Riley, is time. 104.42. Not half bad for my first run of this category ever. Without most of my notes. I'm going to be, after ending stream in a moment, going through my notes and actually writing everything down and making sure I have all the flowcharts done. But that would have been fun to do on stream, so I did a run and it worked out. Let's go. If you haven't seen this game before, first of all, why did you watch the video this far? Did you not like the game enough, like watching the first half of it, to go stop watching the video so you didn't get spoiled on some important plot points? How silly of you. But go play this game. This game is fantastic. I truly never get tired of playing it. Like, I've put in like something like 400 hours since early access released in November of last year. Heck, it's barely been a year. It's barely been half a year. Yeah, love this game to death. Go play it. If for some reason I'm submitting this video and not a better one to a marathon, hi Games Committee, hope you're doing well. Hopefully this one will not be submitted. But anyway, that's where I'll probably end the recording for this one. Thank you to everyone in chat who hung out through this. If you're on YouTube, you can watch my streams live. I am on Twitch at Hallow. That's HALLOW. And yeah, have a good time zone.